Achievement Gaps Out of School Experience, Group 2, Kristen Sweeney. Out of school experiences. So there are external factors that affect student readiness and preparedness for entering school. Different factors such as cultural background, the different values they may have, the different socioeconomic levels, and also family dynamics such as, a broken family or a single parent play a part in student preparedness. A quote I found is that the out of school context necessarily explains the lag in achievement levels of low income and minority youth over the preschool period. So there's a racial influence on achievement gap. There's a noticeable gap in mathematical and literary skills between white middle class students versus low income African American children. Family circumstances cause low income African American children to begin schooling at a disadvantage by comparison with white and middle class children. So these differences between Black and white schools cannot necessarily explain why Black children enter preschool with smaller vocabularies than white children, but they do believe that this fact reflects the difference between Black and white children's experiences before they even enter school. So the average Black child arrives at kindergarten with fewer academic skills than the average white child. There are actually studies to back that up. Specifically, they have substantially weaker math, reading, and vocabulary skills than the average white child. Socioeconomic influence on achievement gap. Low-income preschool-aged children score considerably lower than affluent children on vocabulary knowledge, a difference that amounts to about 9 months of cognitive growth for an average child. So there really is such a large difference in the vocabularies of preschool-aged children from the different social classes, with low-income children on the disadvantaged side of the table. Children from low-income families entering kindergarten score more than 50% lower in reading than youngsters from higher-income families. So it's very evident that students who come from homes of poverty or are just struggling financially we tend to see a disadvantage with them in school in their performance. The relationship between student poverty and maltreatment is also apparent. So in general, districts with higher poverty rates have much higher rates of maltreatment investigations. So the reason for this is because a lot of low-income houses generally increase parental and student stress and different concerns. So for example, if a family is really struggling financially, they might experience neglect due to parents working multiple jobs. So the students might have to step up and babysit and watch their siblings, which obviously is going to take away from their studies. They might have other things on their mind, such as, hunger or just trying to stay warm, for example. And they might also experience more volatile home environments. So why is there this gap? So not only are children from economically disadvantaged families less likely to experience stimulating learning opportunities in their home environments, but they're also less likely to be enrolled in early education programs and center-based childcare. So a reason for that alone could potentially just be that they simply can't afford it. Students who are African American or another minority or from lower income families generally have less educational opportunities and experiences, as well as fewer resources to support their learning. So African Americans are less likely to be enrolled in pre-primary education compared to white students, and nearly 50% of white children participate in center-based care, while only 33% of African American children participate in center-based care. So you can see that this statistic shows the wide range of participation in these center-based care, where a lot of different skills are being developed prior to them starting elementary school. So in order to reduce the gap, research suggests that we could eliminate at least half and possibly more of the black-white score gap at the end of 12th grade by simply eliminating the differences that exist before children enter first grade. So that really suggests that those influences are truly happening before students even enter school. Again, pointing to external factors. Deficits like these cannot be made up by schools alone, no matter how high the teacher's expectations are. So for all the children to achieve the same goals, those from the lower class would have to enter school with verbal fluency similar to that of middle class children. And the following two sources are my references.